What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're doing well. So, we got the new league year starting next week. On Monday is when teams can talk to free agents and I guess verbally agree to contracts, and then they can officially sign them on the 12th, which is Wednesday. So, a bunch of guys getting cut. You got some deals happening, or extensions happening rather. A bunch of stuff happening. So let's go over all that. Devontae Adams has been cut by the Jets. He was cut the other day. Saved just nearly $30 million in cap space. As a Jet fan, I think Devontae Adams is still a really good receiver. He played 14 games last year between the Raiders and the Jets. He had 85 catches for just over 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's still very good, but I mean, Aaron Rodgers basically brought him in. You're trying to wipe, the Aaron Rodgers era just completely clean. You brought obviously a new coaching staff, new front office. Got Aaron Rodgers out of there. You're trying to trade out Alan Lazard. Cut Adams, and also they need the cap space. They have a couple of holes to fill on the team. Obviously, quarterback is the big one, and he saved you nearly $30 million against the cap. He only came in with like $14.5 million in cap space, so that's something. It's just something that had to be done, and so he's been let go. He should have a lot of suitors. He's not necessarily following Aaron Rodgers. I heard possibly going back to the Green Bay Packers is an opening. Josh Jacobs, the running back, came out and basically said, hey, we still need another receiver. You have Jaden Reed and Romeo Doubs already on the roster. I heard he wants to go on the West Coast, so could the Rams be an option with Cooper Kupp probably headed out of town? Maybe the 49ers, I don't know what the money situation is over there. Itself is not very good, but you just trade away Deebo Samuel. Brandon Ayuk might not be next. That's Ricky Pearsall. That receiving core looks all of a sudden a little weak compared to what I did last year. Could he be a suitor for the Adams? I don't know. But Adams is a free agent. Next guy who was let go was Tyler Lockett, a longtime Seahawks receiver. He was there for quite a while. His first year was 2015. I was there for the last 10 seasons. He's not the same player anymore. He's now 32 years old, going to be 33 next season. This past year, 49 catches for 600 yards and 2 scores. A far cry from what he was once a regular receiver. He's over 1,000 yards. He had over 1,000 yards. He had over 960 yards and 4 of them had over 1,000 for 5 straight years from 2018 to 2022. But has regressed over the last 2 years and had a lot of rushing this past year. It saved them a lot of money against the cap. The Seattle Seahawks who have some things to take care of. They need something to add some pieces probably on the offensive line. Obviously, you got to worry about what's going on at quarterback. Do you extend Geno Smith? Do you go in their direction? It saves them $17 million against the cap for a guy who's going to be 33 and is declining. I'm sure someone will pick him up as well. He's probably still a serviceable third receiver. So I'm sure someone will pick him up. They'll value his, what he brings in the slot of lays. But if it didn't get any worse for the Seahawks, DK Metcalf has requested to trade. Seahawks said that they will explore a possible trade for Metcalf. Have a very high asking price of a first and third round pick. And DK wants a huge extension upon getting traded. Look, he's really good, Metcalf. Obviously, he had that great combine years ago. I'm surprised he was only a late second round pick. I thought he'd easily be a first round pick the year he was drafted. He's very good. He's still only 27, going to be 28 next year. But he's a freak of nature. Obviously, physically, he's in great shape, obviously, and everything like that. But he's had his second year in the league at 83 catches for over 1,300 yards and 10 scores. In 2022, had 90 catches for over 1,000 yards, 6 scores. He had 66 for 11, 14, and 8 scores 2 years ago. This past year, did miss 2 games, but 6 catches for 992 yards, 5 scores. To me, he's always been a little bit overrated. He's a borderline number 1 receiver, excellent number 2 receiver, but he's always been kind of like a iffy as number 1 to me, which he's been in Seattle, but since he got drafted. But he's a really good receiver. He's still in his prime. I don't think they'll get a first round pick for him. I think they might get like a 2, maybe also a 3 and a 4, just because he wants a huge extension. I'm not sure if that'll help or hurt him. They're right, opposed to only having him for a year or 2. You might have him for 4, 5, 6 years. But also, he's probably making 20-something million. He might want 30 million now. That's of course always a risk. But he's a very good wide receiver. Heard the Patriots are interested in him. They really need to get Drake May a top level receiver. They're also looking at Brandon Ayuk. I heard they possibly could draft Ted McMillan with the 4th pick in the draft. And there's some other receivers that are available in the draft. Maybe they could look at, especially if trade back. But I doubt they will do that. But with Metcalf, He is now available for via trade. But I don't think they'll get a 1 and a 3. They might get a 2 and a 3, maybe, but I don't see him getting more than that. So they can probably get 2 very solid mid-round picks back for him, like earlier mid-round picks for him. Maybe if you only get a 3rd-round pick back, you can also get a half-decent player. Who knows? But a couple more roster cuts. Raiders are cutting Gardner Minshew. They're going to cut him. Saves him $6.34 million against the cap. They do have a dead cap of like $7.5 million or so, but he had to go. He's not a starter in his league. He's a fine backup, but not a starter in his league. Last year, he completed 66% of his passes for just over 2,000 yards, 9 touchdowns, 10 picks. He was benched at one point. Well, he started as a starter, then he got benched for O'Connell, and then O'Connell got hurt, so he was forced back in there. Then he got hurt himself, and overall was not a good year. Their team was not very good, especially after he traded away Devontae Adams to the Jets after week 6. But he's not very good. He flashed as a rookie a little bit, having 21 touchdowns and 6 picks in 2019 with the Jaguars. But since then, he's shown he's clearly not a starter in this league. He's a serviceable quarterback, so I'm sure he'll land somewhere as a backup. But they gave him 2 years, $25 million. Last year to compete for the starting role. He ends up winning it, but obviously did not go as planned. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are cutting Christian Kirk. They'll save him $13.6 million against the cap. Kind of saw this coming. They were trying to trade him at a trade deadline last year. Then he ends up getting hurt. So only put 8 games last year, but had 27 catches for 379 and a score in the 8 games. He has 84 catches for over 1,100 yards and 11 touches his first year with Jacksonville. Remember, he's in that 4-year, $84 million deal, but has regressed since then. 2 years ago, he had 57 for 797, 3 scores. This past year, obviously missed half the season with injuries. Kirk is 28, so he's still young. Was only drafted in 2018 by Arizona. But he was never really worth that contract. It blew people's minds when he signed it. He performed a little better than we thought. He performed closer to a $21 million a year price tag, probably overall, but still not worth the Jaguars' investment. He has been let go. It saves him like $13.5 million against the cap, which is obviously very important for the Jaguars. The bad news is they kind of have to basically start over. They got to help out Trevor Lawrence a little more than they have. He'll definitely be somewhere. He's a solid, number 2 receiver, somebody in the slot. Maybe not worth $84 million, $21 million a season, but for maybe half that, maybe even a little bit more, that's probably his worth. He's a very good receiver if he's healthy. He still isn't that old. He's being let go. And this came out today. Well, it might be yesterday by the time you guys will see him, as this might go up on Friday morning. It's currently Thursday, late afternoon when I'm filming this. Niners cut Javon Hargrave. Don't have the financial terms of what that's going to do for them financially, but big move that happened. He's still really good. He had 7 sacks this past year. He's a Pro Bowl defensive tackle. He's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. DD tackles the last few years, their market has gone through the roof. They're getting paid like crazy. You saw like Osa, whatever his name is, for Cowboys, just got $80 million contract. A lot of these guys are getting 4 and 5 year deals for 80, 90, 100, $110 million for 20, 22, $25 million a season. And Hargrave should be very much sought out. He's definitely a veteran. He's been around for a little bit, but he's not old by any means. Still playing at the top of his game. He's still one of the best defensive tackles in football. There's no reason why he shouldn't get a pretty decent contract from somebody to be one of their starting D tackles, and there's no reason why he can't have a Pro Bowl season with that team next season. A couple of moves that happened. The Bears make a trade for Joe Thuney. They give up a 4th-round pick in 2026. Thuney has not given up a sack in the last year and a half in a regular season. He's really good. He is 33 years old, so he's getting older. So it's probably more of a short-term fix, but he is one of the best guards in all of football. He's not a pro guard, one of the best guards in the league. Definitely a really good move for the Bears. A 4th-round extra for him is a great value as well. Chiefs maybe cutting salary a little bit as they move Thuney to the Chicago Bears, who also picked up Jonah Jackson from the Rams a few days ago as well. So definitely trying to improve their offensive line, especially in the interior, because Tevin Jenkins and Coleman Shelton are free agents. Tevin Jenkins was their right guard this past year. Coleman Shelton was the center. So for now, they're probably going to roll with Jackson and Thuney as their guards, I would assume, next year. feel more comfortable about Thuney because he's an all-pro. Jonah Jackson, not so much, but definitely still need a little bit of help on the line, but this is definitely a big step in the right direction for the Bears. The Raiders also extended Max Crosby, got a huge deal. 3 years, $106 million with $91.5 million guaranteed. Wow, $91.5 million guaranteed. Look, I'm surprised he signed an extension. I thought it was pretty clear he was going to possibly request a trade out of Vegas. I wouldn't have even blamed him. But money talks. It's just over $35 million a season, over $90 million guaranteed. He gets a huge contract. Basically happened. He probably went up to the GM over there. The new GM, I believe, is John Spytek. He came from the Bucks. Was like, hey man, I know you're new. We haven't really met yet too well. You don't really know me too well yet. But this organization is a dumpster fire. I really want to go to a contender. I've given all I have to this city and to this team, and it's time for me to move on. He said, you know what, Max, I understand, but if I offered you 3 years, $106 million, would you take it? He was like, yeah, I think I should stay. Two more moves that happened. One's on a smaller scale. Rams re-signed Tutu Atwell a year for $10 million. Maybe they're trusting him to be the number 2 receiver now. Cooper Kupp's probably getting traded. The GM Leslie did say that he's not, kind of like not completely shutting the door on Cooper Kupp coming back, but the focus for now is to trade him somewhere else. Atwell last year had 42 for 562 and no touchdowns. He's a source before that where we had 2, but he's only 25, so we'll see what happens. And also, Eagles re-signed Zach Bond, 3 years, $51 million, $34 million guaranteed. That's a big get back for the Philadelphia Eagles. Bond, a former mid-round pick by the Saints, kind of floundered over there for a few years. This year, took a 1-year deal with the Eagles, and it worked out massively for him. Eagles are great with player development. Was an all-pro, had 151 tackles, 5 forced fumbles, 4 pass defenses, 3.5 sacks. Had an incredible year, became one of the best inside linebackers in all football, and the Eagles got him back. It's a huge get back for him. Probably going to lose 2 huge pieces on my D-line in Milton Williams and Josh Sweat. Brandon Graham might be retiring as well. You cut 2 veteran corners in James Bradbury and Darius Slade. Those 2 guys were expendable because of the emergence of Quinton Mitchell and Cooper DeJean, who had great rookie seasons this past year. But it's a huge get back for Blount. If you lose the 2 pass rushers, they're deep enough to where they could probably get over that. Maybe you sign some. Maybe Bryce Huff steps into a bigger role. Maybe he steps up. So you gave him a big deal last year as well. He's got 2 years left on his contract. But they lost Bond. Guy was so important in the middle of that defense. That would have been tough. But they get him back. They re-sign him for 4 years. And to close out, we're gonna continue my NFL offseason series. First team up is the Saints. Saints are in a horrible spot. They come in almost $40 million over the cap. They're going to have to retool a bunch of contracts. I have them doing so with Derek Carr, Cam Jordan, Taysom Hill, Demario Davis, and Tyrann Mathieu, just to get under the cap by about $9 million. And this team has needed a little of the roster. They need another receiver. Shaheed's a nice deep threat, but he's also outside like his little go routes. He doesn't really do anything else. Like every single touchdown he's ever scored was like at least 40 yards. It's kind of funny. Chris Olave is great, but he's always hurt. So they probably use one more receiver. The O-line could use a little help. Trevor Penning, they completely whiffed on. They definitely need a left tackle very, very desperately. That's definitely a major need for them. Maybe another guard as well. Defensively, they need a lot of help. Cam Jordan, they've been trying to find his successor for years. They tried it with Marcus Davenport, trading up to get him in the first round a few years ago. It did not work. They tried drafting Peyton Turner a couple of years ago in the first round. Didn't work. They've been looking for his successor for a long time. They haven't been able to find it. Their pass rushers right now, the guys leading now, it's Cam Jordan, who's on the back end of his career, and then you have Carl Granderson there. He's just okay. Nathan Shepard isn't any good. So they could use, definitely another pass rusher. And now that you already need another corner because they traded Marshawn Lattimore to the Commanders in a trade deadline this past year. So that defense is really, really bad. They need a lot of help on that side of the ball. They need help on the offensive line. They need help at receiver. And also, this team is so old. Derek Carr isn't on the back end of his career. They just have too much money tied up in him. Plus, they made it clear that they're going to stick with him. Alvin Kamara is still a very good running back, but he's getting older. Especially for a running back, but again, they recently gave him a 2-year extension, so they're stuck with him. This next year, they should finally, most likely, I think, be in a better cap situation for the first time in what seems like 2 decades, but for now, they're going to have to take their lumps and just probably run it back with the same god-awful old roster that they have. You know, maybe they can make a small sign here or there. I would just bring in a piece or two on defense and maybe try and add an alignment. And in the draft, they have that, I think, the 9th pick. Either take a top defensive player or if McMillan's there at 9, that'll be really nice for them. If Will Campbell's there, he could maybe be your left tackle in the future. Have him and Ryan Ramczyk, Scissor or Reese in the middle. Can do a whole lot worse. Eric McCoy there as well. But Saints in a really tough spot. Next up is the Carolina Panthers. They come in with just under $34 million in cap space. There are some things that they could do. If you trade J.C. Horn, you can clear his $12.4 million salary. If you cut Jadeveon Clowney, you would save like $7.5 million against the cap, a little more than that, though he did have a very good season last year. So they'll probably want to keep him. H.R. Robinson's another package that you have that you could save like $5.5 million if you cut him. So, this team, they got to help out Bryce Young. He played a lot better down the stretch last year. He needs a lot of help in that receiving core. He needs a top-level receiver desperately. You trade Deontay Johnson, obviously, at the trade deadline. He wasn't very good anyway. Adam Thielen probably isn't coming back. So, they got to go out and get a top-level receiver for Bryce Young. O-line could probably use a little more work. They bring in Damian Lewis and Robert Hunt at guard was very helpful for them last year. But their center, Bradley Bozeman's a free agent. At right tackle, you have Taylor Moton, who's very good, but Ike Ekwonu has been horrible on the left tackle. He really should be a guard. He was on the wall like he was a guard coming out. He should have been moved to guard and didn't. So I don't know what you do with him. If you trade him, you would save like almost $4.5 million. Probably won't get a lot back though. You still have a dead cap hit of a little over $4 million. I'm not sure if it's worth it to move him, to move off him, but they could probably use an upgrade at left tackle as well as center, but they got to focus on wide receiver for sure. And that defense needs a lot of help too. They're getting Derek Brown back at D tackle. That'll help. Getting Shaq Thompson back at the linebacker spot will help. You have Clowney there. You have some pieces there, but they could probably use one more pass rusher. Linebacking core could use some help since Shaq Thompson's very injury prone, coming off an injury in that corner. Horn is a talented kid, former top 10 pick, but he's always hurt. Need a lot of help in the secondary as well. So, Carolina, they got to be aggressive. They got to help out Bryce Young. So, definitely got to get him a number 1 receiver. Definitely got to continue to add piece to the offensive line. They got to improve that defense a lot. And last thing I'm going to cover today is the Los Angeles Rams. Rams have a lot of cap room. They come in with about $55 million in cap space. Plus, they're probably going to trade Cooper Kupp. If they don't eat any money, they'll save about $20 million in cap space. May have to eat some money, though, but still, Matthew Stafford just took a pay cut as well. So, but, finding a quarterback in the future that they can do it in the draft, I would take a shot on one of these kids, whether it's Quinn Ewers, which would make a lot of sense because he's basically Matthew Stafford, like playing style-wise, he's very similar to Matthew Stafford. Whether it's Jackson Dart, if he somehow falls, already he'll probably go in the second or third round, which might actually work out for teams. I actually think he's very good. Now I'm hearing he might go in the top 10, so I don't know. And for right now, they have a nice young defense, a lot of pieces on the defense I like. If you want to keep building on that, but probably should bring in one more wide receiver. Puka Nacua is great, but with Cooper Kupp headed out of town, Tutu Atwell was fine. I mentioned you just re-signed him for $10 million. But even with that, even if you keep Cooper Kupp, might be a bad idea. But as soon as you're trading him, you're still going to have a solid probably $40-50 million in cap space even after trading with Cooper Kupp and the Nacua signing. The Atwell signing, even if you're paying some of Kupp's salary, go out and get somebody. Again, you could take care of that in the draft. You could probably take a shot on the quarterback in the second or the third round, considering Sean McVay is your head coach. Maybe we take a receiver in the first round. That's possible. Also, continue adding to the offensive line. I know they brought back Alaric Jackson, having him and Havenstein tackle, Kevin Dotson at guard. That's huge. Overall, their line played well, but Stafford's 37. He's a statue. You got to protect him. But definitely with Cooper Kupp headed up a town, they should probably bring in one more receiver. But I think this team has a lot of nice pieces. The 49ers look like they're in a bit of a transition. you're trading with Debo Samuel, you let go of Javon Hargrave. They have too many contracts on the book. They're getting really old. Arizona, they have the assets to improve a lot, but, again, Kyler Murray is a very mediocre quarterback. You're stuck with him. We don't know what happens. Seattle, so they're going to take a step back with Lockett getting cut and Metcalf probably getting traded. Although they have a lot of young pieces, especially on defense, they're also being held back a little bit by having a mediocre quarterback in Geno Smith, who might be extending. So, Rams looking like a second division title is very much so in the card, especially with Matt Stafford and that pretty much that whole defense, that whole line, and Puka Nacua coming back next year, plus Kyren Williams and all those other guys. So, they should be in good shape. But if Cooper Kupp going out of town, the number 2 receivers would probably be their main concern. But that's all we got for you guys today. Till next time, so long. Have a great day.